At first, the husband sensed a shift rather than a fact. His wife's habits had changed in small but unsettling ways. Later evenings at work, distracted answers, a smile that seemed to belong to someone else. Conversations grew shorter. Her phone, once left anywhere, was now kept close, turned face down, guarded without explanation. The moment of discovery came by chance. While looking for a charger, he picked up her phone, an ordinary gesture in a marriage that had never required passwords or caution. A notification flashed from an unfamiliar name. The message itself was brief and careful, but its tone carried an intimacy he recognized instantly. It wasn't proof in the legal sense, yet it said enough. He set the phone back where he found it. No scene followed, no questions asked, only a quiet, sinking realization. What he felt then was not rage or certainty, but the first clear sign that something essential between them had already begun to break. After that moment, he began to notice what he had once ignored. The changes no longer felt random. They formed a pattern. She became protective of her schedule, vague about where she had been and with whom. When he asked simple questions, her answers sounded rehearsed, as if prepared in advance. He watched more than he spoke. Late-night messages arrived, followed by quick trips to another room. Small arguments flared over nothing, then ended abruptly, leaving a strange distance behind. Even shared routines, meals, walks, quiet evenings, started to disappear, replaced by excuses and fatigue. None of this was a confession, and still he didn't confront her. Part of him hoped he was wrong. Another part knew he wasn't. Each sign added weight to what he had already sensed. The truth was no longer hidden, only unspoken. He chose an ordinary evening, one with no raised voices or dramatic timing. When he finally spoke, his tone was calm, almost careful. He didn't accuse her outright. Instead, he described what he had seen: the distance, the secrecy, the message on her phone. He asked her to explain. At first, she denied there was anything wrong. She laughed softly, called it stress, misunderstanding, his imagination. But as he continued, listing the moments that no longer added up, her confidence faded. Silence stretched between them, heavy and unavoidable. Eventually, she admitted there was someone else. She said it hadn't been planned, that it just happened. She spoke of feeling lonely, of needing attention, of not wanting to hurt him. None of it sounded cruel, yet none of it eased the truth. The room felt smaller as her words settled, leaving no space for doubt and no easy way back. The admission hit him harder than he expected. For a moment, he felt suspended between disbelief and certainty, as if hearing the words had altered the air around him. Anger came first, sharp, sudden, difficult to contain. He wanted answers that made sense, reasons that could be measured and weighed. Sadness settled in, slow and deep, as he looked at the person he thought he knew and struggled to recognize her. Memories surfaced without warning. Shared plans, private jokes, promises made in quieter times. Each one felt slightly altered now, stripped of its certainty. He spoke little after that. What overwhelmed him was not just the betrayal itself, but the realization that the life he believed in had already changed, and there was no way to return to it unchanged. In the days that followed, the truth followed him everywhere. At work, at home, even in moments meant for rest, it stayed close, pressing in on his thoughts. He replayed the conversation again and again, searching for details he might have missed, wondering when exactly things had begun to shift without him noticing. His emotions moved unpredictably. Some mornings he woke up numb, going through routines on habit alone. Other times, a sudden memory or ordinary object, a song, a place, a shared photo, triggered a surge of grief or quiet anger. He found it exhausting to carry both love and resentment at the same time. She tried to act normal, speaking carefully, offering space when he asked for it. But nothing felt normal anymore. The betrayal had changed the meaning of silence, of closeness, of even the simplest gestures. He understood then that knowing the truth was only the beginning. Learning how to live with it would be far harder as the initial shock faded. He felt an urge to understand rather than react. He began asking questions, not to reopen wounds, but to grasp how things had reached this point. He wanted timelines, motives, moments when choices had been made. Some answers were clear. Others remained vague, softened by hesitation or guilt. Her explanations circled familiar themes: distance, misunderstanding, unmet needs. He listened, not because the reasons justified what happened, but because he needed to hear them to make sense of his own role in the marriage. At times, he recognized real cracks they had ignored for years. At others, he felt those explanations drift dangerously close with clarity still out of reach. He created space, not as punishment, but as necessity. Conversations became practical rather than emotional, focused on daily logistics instead of unresolved feelings. He slept lightly, often waking before dawn, using the quiet hours to think without interruption. Distance changed the way he saw things. Away from constant explanations and apologies, his own thoughts grew louder. He noticed how tired he felt, not just from the betrayal, but from years of unspoken compromises and postponed conversations. For the first time, he allowed himself to consider what he wanted, separate from what he